All right, I am standing here near Prince George, British Columbia, Canada. So why are we doing Personal Defense Network update from Canada? Well, as you probably know, if you've watched the other updates this year, 2014 tour is going to end in Alaska. So I'm heading up to the last class of the year, a combat-focused shooting class that's going to be taught in Fairbanks. And obviously, most Americans think of Canada as a non-gun zone, anti-gun zone, not gun-friendly zone. And for the most part, it's more like one of the most restrictive states we have in the U.S. It may be more like in New York, it may be more like in California, Massachusetts, something like that. And I actually just got a quick lunch update. Jordan, come on in here and join me. I appreciate you being here to represent all of Canada. Check this out, because that's actually pretty cool. We're going to zoom in on that. That is actually a pretty cool tat. So he hit me up on Instagram and said, hey, I saw you were coming through. If you're coming through this town, let's meet up, have lunch. So I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having lunch with me, man.
Now, you were updating me on Canadian gun law. Now, here's the cool thing. I talk a lot about how over the last 20 years in the U.S., we've really gained a lot of ground in terms of concealed carry permits and in terms of the right to keep and bear arms in general and kind of normalizing gun ownership. Well, we all know that in the 80s, Canada took a huge step backwards away from the right to keep and bear arms, especially from a defensive standpoint. But Jordan was filling me in a little bit on some recent changes, and I think it's actually kind of cool. So you guys have a graduated system of gun ownership, is that right?
More or less, yeah. We have 3 classifications on our licenses. Non-restricted firearms licenses for long guns, restricted firearm licenses for pistols and any other firearm, which are known by barrel length or just by name.
Now, you are a legal gun owner here.
Yeah.
You're not in hiding.
No,
so you can take those classes.
Oh, sorry.
All right, just made it know. If you're in hiding, we want to protect his identity.
Absolutely.
All right.
So no.
So which one are you? Which one are you? Which one?
Personally, right now, I have my non-restricted firearms license.
Okay.
I do not have my restricted or prohibited firearms licenses.
But there are like semi-automatic rifles that are
absolutely.
on the non-restricted.
Absolutely.
So check this out. What's the current price for an SKS in Canada?
Between $75 and $175.
So for $100, this is like 1993 in the U.S. Go out and get an SKS, semi-automatic, 7.62x39. And what's the process for you as far as forms and registration and wait times?
All I do is I walk in, show my possession and acquisition license, pay for it, and leave.
No registration.
Recorded, no registration.
No form 4473.
No, absolutely not.
So, as we see, things aren't always as simple as we think. Like, in that way, Canada has a better system from the right to keep and bear arms standpoint than the U.S. does. He can walk in and buy a non-restricted semi-automatic home defense type, personal defense type firearm and just walk with it. Pretty cool. Now, you were telling me about the restricted guns and a big change that's going on there.
Currently, they're bringing about the Common Sense Gun Act. So I'm not a legal expert, so don't take anything 100% from what I'm saying.
Even though he does represent all Canadian gun owners.
All Canadian gun owners. So they're talking about removing the authorization to transport requirements and tying that in with your restricted firearms license. So before, you would have to go get your restricted firearms license, apply for an authorization to transport your rifle or pistol, and only be able to take that to one certain gun range and back and forth. You have to take the most direct route. So the change that they're proposing right now is you're going to have that tied in with your restricted firearms license. So once you have your restricted firearms license and you own your pistol, you'll be able to go straight to any gun range in BC without having to get new paperwork each time.
Okay, so is this a provincial change, or is this...
This is national.
It's a national change, but it only affects your transport inside of a province. Okay, so if you're going to cross into Alberta...
You're still crossing.
Got it. All right, cool. So I think it's great, actually. I'm really surprised. I was in a restaurant yesterday, and I saw a gun stock hanging on the wall, whereas in the U.S. you might see a decorative rifle or, an antique rifle. It was like literally just the stock, and it was kind of painful to see. Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you flagging me down on social media. I appreciate you, filling me in on the Canadian gun laws. I think it's really important to understand that Canada isn't just anti-gun. There's plenty of gun owners up here. You know how I feel if you watch these updates about going to New Jersey, going to New York, going to Colorado, and supporting gun owners who are under restrictions. I feel the same way about Canadian gun owners as well. All right, cool, man. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. All right, well, that really concludes this update. We don't have a lot of training going on this week because of the travel, so we're getting ready. We'll, of course, update with some more training information, talk about the sponsors. We got a few more updates left for the 2014 Personal Defense Network Training Tour. Meanwhile, check out personaldefensenetwork.com. Go check out the recent videos, and if you're a premium member, you'll see that we put a bunch of great stuff up too. There's, of course, free articles and free videos, always updated every week for everybody at personaldefensenetwork.com.